你知道吗？大部分的 YouTube 影片，他们的命运不是被剪辑决定的，也不是被内容决定的，而是被缩图决定的。但是缩图怎么样才会有人点呢？是颜色、对比还是表情？其实都不是。我最近看了一支我认为全网最强的缩图教学 podcast， 他把缩图真正重要的底层逻辑讲得非常清楚。
Once you learn this rule, it's a mystery that nobody knew they needed to know. That's the best formula for a click.
所以这期影片我就带你去看这里面最值得创造者重复学习的7大重点。我希望你一定要认真看完，因为看完之后你就会快速提升你影片的点击率。我们先从大家最容易忽略，但是对于整体的缩图最重要的地方开始，构图。如果你总是觉得你的缩图好像怪怪的，很有可能不是因为颜色，不是因为你的表情，而是因为呢你的缩图的构图毫无逻辑。
Composition is basically the overall kind of balance of the image. The rule of thirds is one of the most popular ways to judge good composition for filmmaking. Basically, it's a tic-tac-toe grid that's applied onto the image, and the points of interest, the most important points of the video or the movie, motion picture, are lined up with where each crossing point happens on the tic-tac-toe grid. You don't want to just put everything in the dead center of the frame, though that can be a style in of itself and requires a different type of composition. That same rule totally applies to YouTube thumbnails, and you see it all the time. In fact, I'd say Ryan Trahan is like, his compositions are great. He tends to line his thumbnails up pretty much dead on with a rule of thirds rule. You can see that with a lot of the thumbnails that I do as well. In fact, I actually use a rule of thirds tic-tac-toe grid as an overlay when I'm editing my thumbnails. It's that important. And it's because it just feels more balanced when you're looking at a rule of thirds balanced image.
所以你看，他说的根本不是什么潮流技巧，而是画面的平衡感、重心还有留白。在你下次做缩图的时候，你就要问自己，主角是不是落在了9宫格的交叉点上？背景有没有给画面呼吸的空间？
The weight of certain objects in the frame need to essentially be balanced. Say you have a scale, my hands are the scale, and I've got, a heavy object on one side. Well, the weight of that object, if I don't have anything on the other side, is going to pull down like so. So I need to balance it out with something else. So I've got my coffee cup here and my remote here. The coffee cup's actually a little bit bigger, but now if I'm talking about just composition, now when I have the remote standing upright, the weight of this now sort of balances the weight of the coffee cup. It's about the same size, except it's skinnier. This is a little fatter. So those two objects, if you're watching the video, balance each other out really well. And so the same is true with thumbnails.
And we see this in like interview thumbnails all the time. You have, if you have just one face, it's off to the side. I mean, we do it in our thumbnails. Sometimes if you have the guest and the interviewer, you have this opposed view that you were describing.
Yes. Basically, the balance of it all has a lot to do with, or the thumbnail just feeling right.
第二个非常关键的就是光线，很多创作者都是拍完影片之后，才从画面里面截取一张截图当做缩图，这通常效果是非常差的。
And then understand the lighting. Well, for thumbnails, you actually want a pretty flat lighting setup because you can add shadow in post-production really, really easily, but it's super hard to kind of fix really harsh shadows or dark areas. Lighting-wise, like I see a lot of creators just maybe take a picture on their phone, probably while the video is being uploaded onto YouTube. They just switch over to selfie mode. They take a picture wherever they're seated, which is probably at their desk, and it's like really dark, and then they just like throw it in there, boost the exposure, and call it a day. Or they just pull a screenshot from the video that is, again, just not lit well. You want clarity and simplicity. So taking intentional thumbnail photos for your video is crucial in my opinion.
我真的非常认同，影片的灯光还有缩图的灯光其实完全不一样。影片可以有阴影、有层次，但是缩图的脸要干净到近乎平光。你可以试试看，只要把你脸打亮，背景稍微再暗一点，你缩图的专业品质就会上升到另外一个层级。
And that's one of the first things that I tell the creators I work with, who we start working together. I'm like, hey, I notice there's a lot of shadow, there's a lot of darkness in your face. Let's start boosting your face, kind of have a flat lighting, so essentially the light directly above the camera, maybe two other lights on the sides, or sit next to a window. You just want to have clarity on the face because obviously humans react to humans and you just want to be able to see everything there, and it's a lot easier to add shadows than to take it away.
第三个也是我觉得大部分的创作者都会忽略的，就是缩图不是在加东西，而是在减东西。当你的缩图东西越多的时候，观众是越不想看的。
We did a previous video about thumbnails, and one of the patterns we heard was no more than 3 subjects or items in the thumbnail. Do you agree with that? Do you take a similar approach, or do you take things differently?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Curtis Connor's scrapbook style, and that one has always perplexed me because for some of those thumbnails, like the Potterheads thumbnail comes to mind. I think that video has 9 million views or something. It might even have 10 million now. That one's very complicated. There's definitely more than 3 things in it. But, and then you look at Mr. Who's the Boss. He does these I bought every Nintendo product ever ones, and there's like 20 or 30 Nintendo gaming things all around him. A friend of ours, mutual friend of ours, Britt Carlini, she does great thumbnails with that girl where she'll buy products and she's just like surrounded by all these products. And I guess you could say the mess of objects is one element. So if we're counting things, you have the subject, the person, the creator. You have the pile of objects in that sense, and then maybe a piece of text. So that'd be 3 elements. Even though there's literally hundreds of elements in it, those kind of act as one unified object. Gotta be careful with text too. You want to keep, the amount of words as minimal as possible. I say you essentially want to just lower the cognitive load that people have to apply to understand your thumbnail.
他说的这段非常的关键，当你缩图越干净的时候，观众是越想停留下来看的。有很多创作者他们在缩图设计上面都会放一堆产品、一堆文字，还有一堆元素，这样观众看到之后是不愿意停下来的，因为他们需要花费很多的时间在大脑里面去思考。
If you've got like a piece of text that says something, and then there's like a police officer over here, and then you're looking to the camera and you've got a really brightly colored hat with a logo on it. There's just like 4 or 5 things going on that don't need to be there. What are the elements that you could take out? Well, thankfully with some amazing AI tools like generative fill, I can quickly and easily take, the logo off of a hat really easily. Just circle around it with the lasso tool, just hit generate, and it'll just take it away. If you feel like the object that you have in the back doesn't need to be there, like a telephone pole or a car that's like a brightly colored car, anything that adds a piece of color or something that's a little distracting, be better to just remove it.
那你可能会问，好吧，我知道缩图拍摄的时候呢要干净，但是我拍摄的环境比较杂乱怎么办呢？现在的 AI 真的能够帮助到我们很多，尤其是在我们设计缩图的时候，需要画面变得干净的情况下。最近我在制作缩图的时候，就会用到 Artlist 最新推出的 CDream 4.5，因为它不是单纯的乱生成，而是非常适合于做干净化和视觉化。比如说，我可以把背景的杂物去替换成更简洁的版本，自动的增强光影，让主体凸出来。我也可以使用它，让我的画面变得更加高级、更加专业。你可以看荧幕上面这张图，左边呢是我原本拍摄的画面，背景呢是比较杂乱的，光线呢还好。右边呢是使用 CDream 4.5，用 Image to Image 功能去做出版本，整个画面呢它就干净很多了，而且辨识度呢也是更高的，整体的照片就变得更加高级了。而且 Artlist 的 CDream 4.5呢，它是可以保证生成的图是一致的，可以保持各种细节相同，你可以选择生成不同的角度。如果说我想把2张图去和谐的融合在一起，那么使用 Artlist CDream 4.5也是能够轻松做到的。比如说我想把一盆植物去放到我的桌上，我不需要真的去买一盆植物，或者是我打开 Photoshop 去花几小时的时间去 P 图，我只需要让 AI 来帮助我去把这2张图去融合在一起就可以了，非常简单。我觉得这就是 AI 最好的用法，不是去取代你的想法，而是让你的想法实现了更快、更干净、更专业。如果你想使用 Artlist CDream 4.5，去用最高效的方式来做出专业级的图片，你可以透过影片下方链接去开始使用，这个链接也会额外赠送给你2个月的试用期。 接下来就是我认为影响非常大的缩图文字，很多人一放就会放10个甚至更多个字，那观众呢是不会看的。
The reading level of it too is important. And what I mean by that is like cognitive load is so crucial. Try your best to make it a 3rd grade reading level because again, if you're using big adjectives or fancy words, it's not that your viewers aren't smart enough to understand those words. It's just the cognitive load of it. Like a bigger word is harder for your brain to kind of, you have to sit, you have to pause, you have to think, what does he mean by that? Oh,
Same with more words. More words is also a heavier load.
Yeah, sometimes. I'm looking at your own thumbnails and I notice when I filter by popular, it is mostly just 2 lines of text with about 4 words. And you're using words like, I can make anything viral. Anything and viral are 2 very simple things to convey. Your videos are boring, bad, good, great, awesome. Those are all just simple ways, 99% of titles suck. It's just very simple. You've boiled it down to the least amount of words as possible, and then it's also a very simple way to convey it.
所以缩图文字不是要补充资讯，而是呢要激发情绪。想法越简单，字越少，那么情绪呢就是越高涨的，更容易去获得高点击率。第5点呢是我非常喜欢的，他讲到了点击诱饵。他认为点击诱饵并不是坏事，只要你是诚实的诱惑，就不是欺骗。
Bait is okay, misleading is not. Kind of over-exaggerating what's in the thumbnail a bit. There is a line with like how high you can take the clickbait, obviously, but figuring out that barometer of like, okay, we can go a little further than what's in the video as long as we're not misleading the viewer and the viewer feels unsatisfied with what's in the content. So keep that in mind. As long as you're not misleading the viewer, you can clickbait them.
你有没有看到过那种缩图？你看到之后就会觉得，这个缩图我不点不行。这种呢就是成功的缩图，不是因为它夸张，而是它创造了一个大脑想解决的问号。
It's a mystery that nobody knew they needed to know. That's like the best formula for a click and the best way to have, the psychology of it. For example, what if mini forks were made of salt? Back to the cognitive load, it might require a little bit too much brain power, but it worked because it's asking a question that nobody thought about before. It's like it's conveying a message to the viewer that is basically subverting their preconceived notion of whatever thing that you're talking about is. Those are the best kind of combos of like, here's a thing that you all know, but little did you know this is actually the truth. Like those 2 things are just so good for for a thumbnail.
接下来他有说到要看异常值而不是平均值，这个思维我真的是学到了。我以前常常会直接去看那些热门的影片，但其实这不是最好的学习方式。
An outlier is essentially a video that when compared to all the other videos on that channel performed better than the others. It's different than just based on views because some channels with millions of subscribers get millions of views just because they're a big channel. It's important to see, essentially the 1 of 10 aspect of this video. Was this video a 1 of 10 performer on YouTube? If it was, there's something to learn from it, especially if it's a smaller channel and they have a video with like 1 million views, but they're averaging like 2,000 or 3,000 views. That's a huge outlier. That basically means this concept is a great concept. This idea works.
去看每个频道里面他们爆款的几部热门影片，他们的缩图，你会学到比看 MrBeast 他的影片来的更多。那些就是缩图的异常值，是经过观众验证的成功缩图。那接下来这段呢，我认为对于所有创作者来说都是非常有启发的。缩图的风格在改变，并且 AI 的到来加速了它的变化。
But what has happened is instead of that plasticky, over-softened, over-processed earlier like Matthew Beam and MrBeast style that we saw a couple years ago, that has now evolved into the things that made that work so well, but adding some realism to it. So allowing the pores on the face to still be there, the sharpness in it, to just feel more like a real photo, but it is intentional. Again, I keep referencing Ryan Trahan, but I think he's the best thumbnail designer on YouTube, and he happens to be a creator. He designs a lot of his own thumbnails. His thumbnails have that balance of reality, that it looks like a photo, it doesn't look overly manipulated, but then the composition and everything is just so clean and so intentional. But he's not over processing it. If he is using AI, it's very secretive. You can't really tell. It looks like a photo. The reality is, I think in the next 5 years, maybe even less, a lot of this work can be done with AI, but it's never going to really replace the ideas of psychology and getting the click and simplifying and minimalizing things. It will be able to look at other thumbnails that work really well, copy them and make them for you with your face. And if they're already not able to replicate your face, it will soon. Like if you just input a picture of yourself, I'm sure pretty soon it'll be very, very accurate. Nobody will even be able to tell if it's you or not. But you still need to be able to push and pull those levers to understand what gets the click, the psychology behind these contrasting ideas. Those are the elements that make it human.
我完全同意他说的 AI 会变得越来越强，风格会回到更真实、更具电影感。真正有差别的是你的理解，所以工具不是重点，你的思维才是。而像我前面展示的 Cjun， 它就是把你的思维变成画面的一种方式，但它不是唯一的方法。最重要的就是你知道你想让观众看到什么。如果你觉得这部影片让你学到了新的知识，一定要记得点赞告诉我。接着我希望你去看这期影片。因为如果你缩图做好了，但是没有避免这3个错误，也会导致你频道是没有流量的。那我在那部影片等你。